Hey everybody, Ryan here at Etrailer. Today we're going to be checking out the line of Truxedo Low Pro soft roll-up tonneau covers. These are going to fit a variety of different makes and models, so be sure to use our fit guide to make sure you get the one that's going to work with your particular vehicle. When it comes to actually picking out a tonneau cover for your truck, there's a lot of different options available out there. And what one is going to be best for you, I feel like, is really just going to be dependent on what you're trying to accomplish. So, if you're going for aesthetics, if you want to improve the look of your truck and just want to keep the weather out of the bed, keep it sealed up and things out of sight, I feel like this will be a good viable option for you. Kind of touching on the appearance first. As far as soft roll-up tonneau covers go, I feel like this is about as good as it's going to get in terms of appearance. Being the low profile design, it doesn't sit up very high past your truck bed rails, and kind of almost looks factory, honestly, compared to some of the other, older style roll-up tonneau covers where they're a little bit bulkier, a little more obvious, just not as clean, at least in my opinion. And some of them will even come up over onto your bed rails here and mount up that way, as opposed to this one where it mounts more inside. And because of that, you're still going to be able to utilize your stake pockets too if you need to. So if you have a ladder rack or other types of accessories that need to use these stake pockets, you're going to be able to use them with this particular cover. This is going to be made from vinyl, and it feels good. It feels like it's decent quality. I've definitely felt and seen some tonneau covers that definitely feel cheaper. So I'd imagine this ought to hold up for some time. And that's going to kind of bring me to my next point. If you're someone looking for a little more security, right? So maybe you got a work truck, you leave expensive tools back here or something, and you want to keep them protected. I mean, this will do the job to keep them out of sight and out of the weather and stuff. But if someone wanted to get in here, it wouldn't be all that difficult. But there's other tonneau covers that are metal, aluminum. They're a lot harder and a lot more solid, so to speak, that would provide you with more security and make it a lot more difficult for someone to be able to get inside the bed. So if that's one of your main objectives there's a ton of different options out there to choose from. The way the cover is going to work whenever you're ready to roll it up, on one side here, there's just going to be a lever that you pull and that unlocks it. And honestly, I like that better. Some covers have almost like two little strings that hang down that you have to pull down at the same time, and sometimes they're just a pain because you get one going and then you can't hardly get the next one. So it's the little things in life, right, that seem to add up. And I'm a fan of this style personally, but you're just going to be able to roll it up. Really nothing to it. It does have bows, these pieces every now and again that rest in there to help give it more support and keep everything tight, and which in turn makes it look a little bit better. But you're able to get this all the way rolled up here, and once we get it like that, essentially you're going to have full, complete bed access, right? So really not taking up any space at all compared to some of the other styles. On each side, there's going to be a strap that you can loop over and connect to, prevent the cover from unrolling, essentially. That way, when you're driving around town and, cruising, you're not going to have to worry about that. And I mentioned earlier, some of them take up some bed space, right? So there's styles that kind of fold up in sections, and a lot of times with those, they'll come up and cover your whole back window. Which isn't the end of the world, but it is nice to be able to see out of that window, right? So that's kind of a benefit to this style. And then you have canister type ones too, which will be kind of a box that'll sit in the bed of your truck where the cover will roll into. And those are pretty cool. They look really good and function well, but you do sacrifice a little bit of bed space usually, usually a foot or so here towards the front. So like I said, with all these different styles, it's really just going to depend on how you plan on using your truck and living with the tonneau cover. Being that the the cover is vinyl. Over time, it's out in the sun and the cold weather, it can kind of stretch out and shrink a little bit, enough to kind of notice whenever it's closed. It might be a little bit looser or tighter than normal. If that happens and it bothers you, there are some tension control little plungers, you call them here, that you can dial in and out and adjust the tension there. So just a nice touch, make it look better and make it a little easier to close and prevent rainwater from pulling on top and everything else. So you have one of these on each side. And on the sides where it kind of fastens down, we got some hook and loop fasteners here. The stitching looks pretty thick in there. I'd imagine it'd hold up for some time. It's a nice wide pattern, and you shouldn't really run into too many issues, I'd imagine, as long as you push it down tight every time. I feel like you'd be in pretty good shape. Being that these covers are custom fit for your particular truck, the installation isn't going to be too bad. Essentially, they just clamp on, to each side of your truck, and not really a whole lot to it with these ones. I mentioned before, see our fit guide for your particular application, but to kind of add on to that, because I see this kind of get missed a lot, is make sure you select in our drop-down menu your particular bed length. Because, for example, this cover will be available for a short bed, a long bed, and things like that. So make sure you focus in on that. That way you get what you need the first time. Other than that, though, at the end of the day, this could be a potentially good choice for a lot of you out there. In my opinion, this is one of the more well-built, economical, soft roll-up covers that I've seen. And that'll finish up our look at of the line of Truxedo Low Pro soft roll-up tonneau covers.